Hey there, Aseba. Thank you so much for being with me today for another I Do Affirm Affirmation Conversation. I appreciate you spending some time with me today to talk about the affirmation of uniqueness. Um, let's talk about kind of where you started. First of all, you look very unique today.
Thank you. Specs on. You see my specs with my gems going on. So
Yes, and it's beautiful. I
thank you.
love it. So I see you were born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, but you currently reside in Arlington, Virginia, which of course we call that the DMV. What took you from Oklahoma to Arlington?
Well, so my uniqueness begins in humble beginnings in Alabama. My mother is from Auburn, Alabama, where she met my father. He is from Nigeria, but he came over here to go to school. He was going to Tuskegee University, where he met my mom at a party. So they got linked up and started dating or whatever. And then they got married, and then they moved to Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, when he got accepted to University of Oklahoma, because after Tuskegee, he went to Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma. So that's where I was born at. And so that's how I started there. I was raised in Alabama, though. I was raised in Auburn, Alabama.
Oh,
Then I joined the military um, after disenrolling in school. I after high school, I went to Auburn University for a little bit. Junior year, I decided that I wanted to do something different with my best friend. We both did the buddy system and joined the military in my junior year, and that was like in 2003, and so joined the military. So fast forward through my military career. I mean, I ended up in Arlington. I'm now stationed here at the Pentagon. So this is my last stop before retirement. But yeah, that's how I ended up here.
wow. Well, awesome. Okay, we're gonna backtrack a little bit. Okay, so first of all, raised in Auburn, Alabama. So I'm definitely, I can't skip past that. I gotta give you a roll tide.
For Eagle, I can't even. Oh, gee.
You had to know that it was coming.
I knew it was. I knew.
So that is actually phenomenal. Clearly, your parents set a good example for you on the importance of higher education. Not surprisingly, because I heard you say that your father was Nigerian, and just from my purview, what I've seen, contrary to popular belief of other races, I would say Africans for sure, they are just really big on education. So I am not surprised that you followed in your father's footsteps. And we're going to get to your education in a minute because Lord have mercy, Jesus. Let's just say, woman, okay, whoever marries you, he better come correct. All right, because yes. All right, so I see. Okay, so you enlisted in the Army in 2003. You said after almost about 3 years in college. You joined after the 9/11 attacks. So
Yeah.
wow. Were you scared to join the Army? Did you know anything about the Army before you joined?
No, so it's funny because when we went to go talk to the recruiter assured us that, and this is naivete on my side because I was like, okay. She was like, oh, it's gonna be a peacekeeping, because at the time we weren't really it wasn't really a war yet. We were just going over there to prevent, the distribution of weapons of destruction. So it wasn't like we were actually at war. So of course I was like, oh, okay, well that's different. Like peacekeeping mission and actually being in a war zone, like I was like, okay, this is nothing. So when I joined, that's what I kind of my expectations were. Oh, I was gonna just be on if I deployed, like if I deployed, I would not knowing that because when my first duty station was Fort Hood. If you're in the military, those are like in the Army, that's a hot spot. Like you're going to go somewhere. If you go to Fort Hood, Fort Bragg, any of those big installations. So when I just by naivete, I'm going to Fort Hood, and when I'm in the reception, they started like briefing us on like all the stuff we need. And I was like, oh wait, what are we going somewhere? So I deployed to Iraq within maybe 6 months of getting to Fort Hood. Yeah, it was a very traumatic experience for me. I will say that. My hair was falling out. I was very stressed out. I was like, I had, I'm just like, I'm coming from college and like I did not expect. It was really traumatic. I will say that.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. Literally going from Oklahoma City, college at Auburn, which is an actual, okay, I know I make Roll Tide jokes, but I know you know why, right? That's a little loving rivalry that's never going anywhere, but that is a prominent institution. Then joining the military, not even really going to your job yet, and then being told that you're going to deploy overseas.
Yeah.
And who knows what's in store? Yeah, I would definitely consider that to be traumatizing as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank God you made it home safely, because we know that a lot of brothers and sisters didn't, which we'll commemorate, I would say, not celebrate that. I think it's next weekend for Memorial Day, but thank goodness that you survived that. Wow. Okay, we gotta bring this back up now. I'm a little
yeah.
So let me talk about your education a little bit, okay? So first of all, not only do you have a Bachelor of Science in Liberal Studies, but you have a double master's, 2 master's degrees, like as if one wasn't enough, right? Yeah. And you just got one, the other day you walked, Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Okay, so you just got one.
Yep.
And you got your second master's after you attained your Doctor of Business Administration.
So I got the bachelor's first, then I got the master's in management. Then I did the bachelor's through the doctorate. Well, all of them really back to back. So all of them. So when I joined the military, I told you when I joined the military, I was not complete with school. Mm-hmm. When I joined the military, they had their little program where you got the laptop.
The Go Army Ed.
Go Army Ed, yeah. So I got that, and so I enrolled in Franklin University. Because during my time, so when I enrolled in Auburn, I was a pre-med major. I changed my pre-med with the focus in biology. I changed my major when I did chemistry. I'm not good at chemistry. I'm not really good at math, anything. Like, that's not my strong suit. And so with chemistry, if anybody knows about chemistry, it's a lot of formulas and stuff like that. And I'm just wasn't and I had a teacher that wasn't really, a professor that wasn't really great. So I changed my major at Auburn to business administration at that time. And then from business administration, so when I left Auburn, I went into the military with still having credits from Auburn University, but they were just credits. It wasn't towards anything. So I went to Franklin University where I was, where I did I majored in accounting. Don't know why I majored in accounting, because I told you I wasn't good in math, but so I took some accounting class. They was cool, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, this is not going to work again. So it got to the point where, because from the time that I got into the military to the time I got picked up for Warrant, I did not have a degree. So when I crossed over for Warrant, I didn't have a degree at the time. I just had.
How many years was that in your career?
It was, I got picked up around a 10-year mark.
Okay. Wow. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so I was at E7 by the time I got picked up for Warrant. But but I did focus a lot on my military stuff, my military education.
Clearly, you were E7.
I was
10 years. People retire at that at 20.
So. Right. I was just leaning forward on trying to focus on the military stuff, because but I kept going to school. I just wasn't complete. I wasn't doing anything towards anything. Right. So
exactly. You were just learning.
Yeah, I was just learning. I didn't really do nothing towards anything. And then when I switched over for Warrant, got picked up for Warrant, and at the time there was no requirement to have a degree. You just had to have enough credit hours, towards whatever. And so, and it didn't even have to be towards anything. It just was, 60 credit hours or more. So, And I had that. So when I crossed over, I was like, okay, well, now I need to try to like focus in on getting my, because at that time I was like, okay, well, I'm at the halfway point, because I knew I had been trying to get out of the military, because when I came in, I was like, I'm only staying for 4 years. Then it was another reenlistment. So I was like, at the point that I switched over, I said, okay, so I'm going to do 20. So I need to focus on trying to focus on the after, what's happening after. So in order to do that, I need to try to start getting all I can get while I'm in the military as far as education goes. So that's when I was like, I'm going to focus in. I'm going to go ahead and get this bachelor's in anything. So that's how I did liberal studies, because I had so many credit hours that I had been going to school all this time. So I got in the bachelor's of science in liberal studies, and then after that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to back and get all this stuff at one time. So then that's why I went to get the master's in management, and I did it through Excelsior. I just did went through there. And then after that, I was like, oh, since I got the momentum, I just did the doctorate. The master's of professional studies of in IO psychology was just like kind of a mishap, because I had learned about that when I was doing my dissertation in the doctorate. Was reading some articles or whatever, and it had IO psychology in there, and I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So it was just like something I was interested in that I wanted to kind of pursue. So it wasn't even like, I was not even planning on going back to school. It was just kind of a mishap. So I'm happy I did. It was a very interesting program. I'm happy that I actually did it. So
I'm proud of you. Wow, I didn't even realize that, but here's a lesson to all you people out there. She just literally told you that in a 10-year span, she achieved a bachelor's degree, 2 masters, and a doctorate. Yeah. So you can totally do it. And she told you what she did was committed herself to doing it and just buckled down and worked off of the momentum that she had. So I'm really proud of you for that, because that is absolutely amazing. And I know you had been on me about that too. So thanks to you, I have my little master's degree back there. So I appreciate that. And not only that, you did all that while being a mom.
Yeah.
And a soldier in the military. So that's quite a lot. Published multiple articles. I did see these 2 things that I was really interested in. Empowering women to break the glass ceiling. You were a guest lecturer. What just like very briefly, what was that about? I like that title.
So I was speaking at Trinity University, so all women's university, talking to young ladies that are business majors in their undergrad about breaking the glass ceiling, and that's pretty much rising to the heights of, in your career advancement, especially in the corporate sector, and breaking those biases and those things that bog you down as a woman, as a minority, and talking to them about tactics and ways to work around that, working on, self, being very self-aware of certain things, and knowing how to use your self-awareness to break down those barriers as well. So that's what it was about.
Awesome. Another one that really popped out to me was tell them why you mad, sis. I love that one. What was that?
Yeah, so one of my good friends from Auburn, we went to Auburn High School together. She is a wonderful, wonderful motivational speaker and coach. She's actually in seminary school right now, getting her PhD in biblical studies. And so she has a podcast, and it's called Tell Them Why You Mad, Sis. And she has a lot of like the actual podcast sessions on there that she goes through different topics, like like finding a virtuous woman, and things of that nature, where she talks about these things in the very practical sense. And so the one I was on was she had just got accepted for the PhD program, and she was wanting to give tidbits of information and like techniques of how to manage all of that with work-life balance and go and get your doctorate or PhD or whatever, from a very practical sense. And so that's why I was on there, because she knew I was in the military. She knew I had finished my doctorate. She knew, so she was, picking my brain to give to the ladies and the fellows out there on techniques on how to work around that stuff while you're, and I mean, not just for PhD or doctors, but for any study program. I mean, school is school. It's a lot of work. Any program is a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication and stuff. So we just talked about that stuff, but it was fun to be on there. So yeah.
Well, y'all better go and find it. I'm pretty sure you can find it on any of the platforms that you can
It
find
is.
podcasts. It's Tell Them Why You Mad, Sis. So definitely, please. I appreciate that. Okay, so now you are serving, you said, at the Pentagon, and you're serving as a career manager. So I wanted to just have you briefly talk about what you do there, because obviously, like we said, today's topic is about uniqueness. And obviously, with you being a person who manages, people's careers, you obviously have to deal with each unique individual. So what do you do in that job?
Okay, so my capacity as a career manager I think it's twofold. I think the one side of it is ensuring that the individual navigates their career correctly in order to progress throughout their career. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I think is making sure that we are retaining talent at certain levels, and making sure that everybody is kind of informed across the board of how to actually reach those heights in certain areas. So I think those are the two main ones, but they do branch off. I mean, I am also responsible for accessions, so bringing in new talent in the pool. I'm also responsible for like advising on certain ways that we keep talent, and we and things that we're changing for curriculum and education. All of that stuff ties in together. So I'm responsible for a lot of different things in that aspect, but I think my most important job is to take care of people and make sure that they are navigating their careers correctly so they can progress. Because the thing about the military is, if you're not progressing, you're not going to stay in. So that's like a very distinction between like the military and other organizations. This is a leadership organization, so they promote you based off your potential to be a leader. And so if you're not progressing through the ranks, then it is problematic, and you could be singled out and separated. So I think that it's very important that you have a career coach to kind of let you know what things could be roadblocks to you progressing through those gates.
Awesome. Well, I think anybody can kind of take that advice, what you just gave when you described your job, and apply that to their own careers and really just their own personal lives. So thanks for putting that out there. First of all, I also heard you say that you are retiring next year. So thank you for your service. So that means you at least did 20, which you did say 2003 is when you came in. So yeah, perfect there. I have no doubt that whatever you do, you're about to be highly qualified for it. So I definitely look forward to seeing what happens with you there, because you got you got the recipe for success, surely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what makes you, like all people, so unique, other than all that other stuff that you just talked about. Glasses.
Yeah, I think what makes me unique is just my love for a lot of different things, and the fact that I am not afraid to lean into those things, regardless of what people view as more important than others, if that makes sense. So I am an academic, but I'm very creative. I'm very artsy. So that artsy. Most of the time, people like to separate academic, if you're very academic, you're very like kind of, structured, very organized. Whereas if you're like an artist, you're on the other side of the spectrum, where you just kind of free spirited, you just kind of live. And I like to think that I'm more closer to the artist part than I am to like the scholarly and the academic part, because I am very free spirit. I just lean into more of the arts than I do anything else. And I mean, I like learning different stuff, but I really am very creative and I've learned in the last few years that, to lean into that even though people may not view that, they might be like, oh, well, you got all these degrees. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing something like this? I'm like, well, I mean, I like to live an a la carte life. So I like to live my life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to have options to be able to have. And I feel like if you don't explore what your passion is in life for real, you can do other stuff that's practical, right? Like you can do the other stuff that makes sense. Like what I would say, if somebody was like heavily into the arts and they want to go be a starving artist, that's wonderful. But what I would tell them is make sure you have a backup plan for your, so then that way you have something to fall back on, and it's not just all in this one thing, and it's like one straight thing that you may fail at. And I mean that you're probably going to fail at. We fail all the time, but you're gonna fail at it. But you need a fail safe just in case. And so that's how I have kind of viewed my life is. I do what I want to do, kind of like I want to, like whatever I feel the passion to do, I do that. And I'll do the other stuff, but I really do what I'm passionate about. And I think that's what kind of makes me unique, because I think a lot of people do what other people think want them to do.
Exactly. No, definitely. You can wear Fashion Nova and drive a BMW. You can be a doctor who listens to City Girls. You can,
Yeah.
you can eat freaking bell pepper soup, but drink Hennessy. I mean, like, you can love horror movies.
Right. You love horror books. And then go and do statistics. I mean,
exactly. Exactly. That's one thing that I love about just reading some of your stuff, is that you don't fit into any traditional societal mold of what a Black woman is or should be. And none of us really do. It's just people put us in this box, they put us in these stereotypical molds, but it's like you can fit into any, space because of your uniqueness. Like you said, you can fit into with the gallery types, you can fit into with the nerdy types, you really could. You can go to the club and turn up.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you can twerk something, if that's what you wanted to do. Right. But on Monday, Dr. O'Kim is going to have it together in the classroom.
Right.
Or Chief Green is going to have it together at work at the career fair. So, right. Yeah, that is very unique. You are absolutely unique. So how does being unique empower and inspire you?
I think it empowers me and inspires me because I see like kind of the impact that it makes on people, and the fact that people can look at me and be like, oh, I don't have to fit into this kind of mold or this little square thing. It does make, it makes me happy, because I think people struggle with trying to fit in most instances. And sometimes you just don't fit in, and you're not gonna fit. Everybody is not gonna fit into every group, regardless of what people think. It's not gonna happen, and that's okay. But if you can create your own space where you're happy in your own space, you will always be happy. So that's why that's what really empowers me and inspires me, is that I see the impact that people see me, and they'll be like, oh, you do this. I didn't think you were like this. And I'm like, well, why did you think that? Because I'm, because of a title, or because of like any accolades or whatever. None of that stuff is important. I mean, it's important in the sense that maybe, you get a good job or you can network a certain way, but it's not important in the sense of when it really boils down to like living and enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what keeps me going to lean into my uniqueness. I've been like this since high school too. I didn't have a lot of friends because of it. So.
Wow. Well, you definitely have a lot of friends now.
I have a lot of friends now.
A lot of friends.
It wasn't always it was frowned upon. I mean, so
the world has changed a lot in the past 20 years. So
yeah, that's true.
Well, I was definitely going to ask you what advice you would give someone on how to fit in with their own uniqueness, but I did like what you said about creating your own space. So we can sort of capitalize off that. And that really makes me think of a friend, and you may know her. She's a fellow Warrant officer, and she has a coffee shop in Dallas. And it's like a Black coffee shop. Obviously, it's not exclusive. Anyone can go there, but it's like, jazzy, and it's like, the right type of crowd comes there. And it's like, she created a space, a coffee shop where, certain types of people would feel like it's their space and it's unique. And I absolutely agree with what you said. If you can't figure out where your uniqueness fits, then create your own space, because there's probably someone just like you waiting for that space to open up, waiting to stumble upon you in the space that you created. So what other type of advice, if I didn't already answer the question myself, because I usually do that.
You did kind of answer the question, but I think that I think understanding and appreciating your uniqueness is like key. Like in the last few years, we've been very big about like self-care and self-actualization. And I mean, this is where your company comes in to help people understand, them and where they fit in, and how their unique quirks or their unique talents or attributes fit, embracing those things. You know what I'm saying? I am this, I am that. Those affirmations to help remind them that they are special, and they are unique. And I think leaning into those, like just really leaning into those and understanding what those mean and how that makes you up as a person, because that is your self identity. That is like what makes you special, and you should lean into those things. You shouldn't look at other people and want to be what they have. That's their unique thing, and that's wonderful. But you have what you have, and you should into those things. And I think understanding that and learning to love yourself and learning to like kind of appreciate what you bring to the table, and maximize those things, then that boosts your confidence. It boosts everything about you, because you may not be the shit to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But be the shit to yourself, and know that your uniqueness provides it adds value to a lot of different situations, and you just got to find those situations in which your uniqueness adds that value. So that's what my tip would be.
Amazing. I could not have said it better. When you were saying it, learning to love yourself, the only thing I was thinking is the greatest love of all. I was thinking Whitney Houston in my head. Whitney, I love me some Whitney. Oh, so you are currently writing a series of books. Okay, so you're the co-owner of C&Say Publishing Company. So congratulations. Super proud of you. So right now you are working on the first book in a series of books, short horror stories, no surprise there.
Yes.
And so you're trying to get the first book out by the end of this year, by Halloween.
By Halloween, yep.
I can't wait to read it. So that's pretty awesome. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So C&Say Writers Collective Publishing Company. Me and Shaniqua Coley, you know her. She's our fellow friend and legal administrator too. So we started in January, when it all got born from we were rewriting a book together. We're co-authoring a book. We just recently decided that we're going to break it down in a trilogy, because we figured it would be too long, as far as like if we put all the characters together, because we're doing it by sections and characters. So but they follow the same, so it's like a character they're going through the same thing, but it's their perspective for each one. So but we figured it would be too long, so we're gonna
That's so awesome.
we're gonna publish them in sequence. So her character will be the first to come out. And so we decided to do the publishing company because we want to do the trilogy, and we're going to write more books. And so we felt like, so this is just the initial why we started it. But, we figured that if we going to write more books, we want to like have a publishing company where we have something that's legitimate. It's legit. We legitimize the writing, right? Then we was like, okay, well, if we're going to do that, then we want to kind of open it up to all indie writers to help. Yes, like you, like that write stuff and don't really know, because it's, and the unique thing about our company is that we're really a third party publishing company. So there's a lot of self-publishing companies nowadays, like Kindle and Barnes and Noble has one, and there's a slew of them. But we wanted to provide unique services to writers that could like kind of enhance the experience, so they don't have to go and try to figure out how to self-publish. They don't have to figure out how to get their book cover. They don't have to, like, if they need editing, you can get it. Yeah, it's like
That's
a
awesome.
art type deal. So and you can get customized consultation on how to do certain things. So we decided that we were going to go that way. Really, we're going to start promoting it after we published our own books, because then so then
legitimize the business first, because you know how people are.
Right. So,
I'm so happy and proud of y'all. I can't wait.
Yeah, so we're excited. We're doing a lot of work. We're about to launch our website and our YouTube channels and stuff like that, where we'll do similar stuff like we're doing now, talking about it and talking about the book. We have voice actors that are doing the characters and stuff like that. So it's really super, super fun. I'm so excited to I mean, this was all just born off of just, we was like, oh, we were together. So it's just, so I'm really excited about that. And then the short stories, the horror stories. I mean, horror is my passion. I really, really, which is another unique thing about me, because horror is definitely not a Black space. It's a very white space. But it is, I've been able to do a lot of like very fun, unique things since I've like joined Clubhouse. I have this horror group that's a bunch of these beautiful people that are all horror nerds and share my same interests. And I've been able to like interview directors and producers. Like I got to interview the director and writer of Werewolves Within movie, and then he wrote Scare Me. It's on Shudder, but I was able to do that, and I actually talked to the interviewed the director for a movie called Host. He got another movie coming out. He's in Britain. It was just so much. And then I periodically interview like Black writers and directors and producers. It's fun, very fun thing. And I get to analyze horror movies and break them down from the very like really nerdy stuff. So it's very fun. And I've been able to several podcasts to talk about horror, which is very cool, for kind of leaning where I can dibble and dabble and do some of that stuff. So
wow, that is absolutely awesome. So how can people catch up to you? What's your your IG handle, your Facebook?
Okay, so my IG handle is All Hail Queen Saber on IG.
So let me tell them it's ALLHIIL. HAIL, girl, I did it wrong.
HAIL Queen Saber.
SEBA.
Yeah, SEBA. Yeah.
Don't worry. Once I put this video out, I'm just gonna put it on the bottom of the screen for y'all, because my brain told me HA, but my mouth said HI.
Yeah. So Queen Saber. And then for Facebook, I'm Aseba Okim on Facebook. My pen name though is my first name, my last name backwards. So it's Abisa Miko. So that's awesome. The thing. So yeah, so if you see that, that's me. So
Miko. I love that. And then Shaniqua, your partner,
Sienna
B. Awesome. I love those. I love those. Well, I would definitely like to thank you so much for joining me today and just talking to us about, uniqueness and just finding your uniqueness, capitalizing on it, embracing it, finding your space. Before I let you go though, I want you to tell us, like, if you were to give like a quote or a tagline or something that, mean something to you, what would you leave them with?
Okay, I had to. So we talked about this. So it's two things, right? I think, okay, one is you can find my name in baseball.
Yes. Okay. So I asked her to tell us a funny, like an interesting, what was it? Like tidbit about herself. So her name can be found in the word baseball, Aseba baseball. If y'all don't get it, don't worry. I'm gonna put it on the screen and I'm gonna circle the letters and y'all gonna figure it out.
It's the B, you drop the B and the double L and you have my name in the middle.
Because you got to drop one B and
yes,
then okay, yeah, because we don't take L's. We just gonna drop the L's. We drop the L's.
Right, there you go. L's, yeah, drop the L's and we don't make no B's.
That's right. We don't deal with B's or L's. Okay.
Or L's or lost. Yeah.
One B. We can deal with one B, but we cannot handle two B's.
No two B's. Yeah. So I discovered that young in my life, and it was like the best thing in the world for me, because it's when I was actually leaning into my uniqueness. And so every time somebody asks me, like, tell me something special about you, I'm like, oh, you can find my name in baseball. And they always looking at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
that seems like something you stumble upon when you're like at the bar on like your fourth drink.
yeah, or when you're spelling baseball and you're like, oh, it's like word find. Like you're like, oh, my name is in there.
You have 60 seconds to find any word you can in this word baseball. You're like, oh,
my name is baseball. People are so like confused. They're like, so
your name is base?
So your name is that, okay, what? Oh, and then they're like, oh, I see. And then they looking at me crazy because who says that kind of stuff?
Who named their kid ball?
Yeah, who is telling us that your name is in baseball? So yeah, so that's
my stomach hurt, and I got a sweet, what is it called? A sweet sweat band. Don't make me.
Oh my God.
Don't make me laugh. Oh God.
Okay, so yeah, that's one thing. And then you said the quote.
What would your quote be?
About what my quote was. It was I think it was
I can tell you the quote and you can tell me what you mean.
Okay.
Embrace people's surprise of not being what you expect.
Okay. What I meant by that is, and that's a unique quote too. That's from me. So if you use it, you got a coin.
That's right. If you use it, cash app her.
Because I said it. But yeah, I mean, when you do something and people are like, oh, I didn't know, embrace it. Be like, oh yeah, because that's me.
Right.
Yeah, that's me.
Is it the same when someone says, oh, I didn't know your dad was white? I'm like, okay. Well, he been white my whole damn life.
You'd be like, yeah, that's me.
Look, I did. I embraced it, so I guess you better too.
Okay. I knew he was white. You just got the memo.
I didn't know I didn't know you were supposed to be on the distribution of the memo.
I just be like, yeah, I did. Yeah, you be like, yeah, I thought you knew both. Both sides of my family fought for the Civil War. So
right. Jesus, people be killing me. I'm still black though. Black as hell. Bye, Aseba. Love you. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Hey y'all. Thanks again for tuning into another I Do Affirm Affirmation Conversation. I hope that you enjoy the conversation with Aseba just as much as I did. In my 36 years of life and 19 years of not being in the Army, I have definitely met thousands and thousands of people. And Aseba is just one of the most unique people I've ever met. She's the type of person that if you look at her, you would have no idea the type of person that she is, how unique she is until you peel back all those onions. I mean, it's truly phenomenal. I just love that about her. She loves horror and she reads a lot, unlike me. Yes. I mean, she just had, I mean, it's just crazy. She's unique. She's so unique. I can't even describe her uniqueness, but it's wonderful. And, she just wanted to remind you that everyone is unique in their own way. And I think what you should do, if you want to figure out how unique you are, ask other people what they value in you. What's the most valuable thing about you to them? And that's your unique superpower. And you need to harness it. Stop trying to compromise and dare to be different. All right? Trust me. You're not going to be happy with yourself if you're always compromising, because a lot of us, especially people like me, have a problem of when you compromise, it usually leans in the favor of the other person. And so you're left with a little feeling of unhappiness in doing that. So like Aseba said, find your crowd. You should not have to change who you are to belong. She also reminded you to create your own space. Trust me, other people will be trying to fill it in once they realize just how amazing and desirable your uniqueness is. Embrace your beliefs and embrace the fact that they may differ from others, and that's okay. Embrace your passions. And if no one else shares those same passions, enjoy them by yourself. I do enjoy horror movies, but I think I get a lot more easily scared than Aseba probably does. So we do not watch them together, but I would. Not everyone is going to accept you or everything about you. Not everyone is going to approve of everything you do. And that is okay. Tell yourself right now, say, I accept me. I approve of me. I love me. And that's the only validation that you need. It is okay to spend time alone. Your uniqueness won't keep you there alone anyways. Be you.